sorry, I think this is, yeah. Public issues for DRHP filed on or after notification following shall be applicable. Conditions for objects of the issue. Where an issuer has set future inorganic growth as an object of an issue, but has not identified any acquisition or investment target in the draft offer document, and the offer document, the amount earmarked for such object shall not exceed 25% of the amount being raised. Further, the amounts earmarked for such object and for general corporate purpose taken together shall not exceed 35% of the total amount raised. Now, some of the conditions for offer for sale to public in an IPO where DRHP is filed by a issuer without track record, that is loss-making companies. Shares offered for sale by selling shareholders individually or with persons acting in concert holding more than 20% of pre-issue shareholding of the issuer shall not exceed 50% of their pre-issue shareholding. However, if the combined shareholding of such shareholders is less than 20% of pre-issue shareholding of the issuer, the shares offered shall not exceed 10% of pre-issue shareholding of the issuer. Next is regarding monitoring agency and reporting on utilization of issue proceeds. SEBI registered credit rating agencies shall henceforth be permitted to act as monitoring agency instead of scheduled commercial banks and public financial institutions. Such a monitoring shall continue till 100% utilization of issue proceeds as against 95% at present. Amount raised for general corporate purpose shall also be brought under monitoring and utilization of same shall be disclosed in monitoring agency report. Monitoring agency report shall be placed before audit committee for consideration on a quarterly basis instead of on annual basis. Next, on price band. For all book-built issues opening or after notification of the amendment, a minimum price band of 105% the floor price shall be applicable. That means the band has to be minimum 5%. Lock-in for anchor investors. For all issues opening on or after 1st April 2022, existing lock-in of 30 days shall continue for 50% of the portion allocated to anchor investor, and for the remaining portion, lock-in shall be for 90 days from the date of allotment. Next is revised allocation methodology for non-institutional investors. For book-built issues opening on or after 1st April 2022, the allocation in the non-institutional investors category shall be revised as follows. 1/3 for application sizes between 2 lakh rupees and 10 lakh rupees, and 2/3 for application sizes of more than 10 lakh rupees. As is currently done in retail individual investors category, allotment of securities in non-institutional investors category shall also be on draw of lots basis. That is, draw of lots to allot minimum application size to applicants. In case of oversubscription, the balance amount on proportionate basis. Now coming to the amendments relating to preferential issues. For all preferential issues where relevant date is on or after notification of amendments, following shall be applicable. Determination of floor price. For frequently traded security, higher of 90 or 10 trading days volume weighted average price of the scrip preceding the relevant date, or as per any stricter provisions in the article of association of the issuer company. For infrequently traded security, based on valuation report by a registered independent valuer. In case of change in control, allotment of more than 5% of post-issue share capital of the issuer company to the allottee or to allottees acting in concert, a valuation report from registered independent valuer shall also be required. Further, in case of change in control, a committee of independent directors shall be required to provide a reasoned recommendation along with their comments on all aspects of preferential issuance, including pricing. Now, lock-in provisions. The tenure of lock-in provisions of shares pursuant to a preferential issue shall be reduced in line with the lock-in requirements of public issues, that is, for promoters for allotment up to 20% of post-issue capital, paid-up capital, lock-in shall be reduced to 18 months from the existing 3 years. For allotment exceeding 20% of the post-issue paid-up capital, lock-in shall be reduced to 6 months from the existing 1 year. For non-promoters, lock-in shall be reduced to 6 months from the existing 1 year. Next, about pledge of locked-in share. Promoters would be permitted to pledge the locked-in shares pursuant to a preferential issue if pledge of such specified securities is one of the terms of sanction of the loan granted by certain financial institutions, and the said loan is to be sanctioned to the issuer company or its subsidiaries for the purpose of financing one or more of the objects of the preferential issue. So this was an item on ICDR and LODR. Now I'm coming to the next item. This relates to provision relating to appointment or reappointment of persons as directors who had earlier failed to get elected at the general meeting of a listed entity. Board approved to amend the SEBI LODR regulations to specify that appointment or reappointment of any person or director, including as a managing director or whole-time director or a manager who was earlier rejected by the shareholders at general meeting, shall be done only with the prior approval of the shareholders. Next item is amendment to SEBI Alternate Investment Funds regulations. Board approved amendment to AIF regulations to introduce special situation fund, a subcategory under category 1 AIF, which shall invest only in stressed assets. Eligible stressed assets shall include stressed loans available for acquisition in terms of RBI Transfer of Loan Exposures Directions 2021 or as a part of a resolution plan approved under IBC. Security receipts issued by asset reconstruction companies or securities of companies in distress or other asset security as may be prescribed by board from time to time. Other important features of the regulatory framework for special situation funds include exemptions from investment concentration norm in a single investee company, no restriction on investing their investable funds in unlisted or listed securities of the investee company, minimum investment by investor to be rupees 10 crore or 5 crore in case of accredited investor, minimum corpus of AIF to be 100 crore, initial and continuous due diligence requirements mandated by RBI for asset reconstruction companies. Investors shall also be applicable to these special situation funds while acquiring stressed loans in terms of RBI Transfer of Loan Exposure Directions 2021. Next item is amendment to SEBI Mutual Fund Regulations. Board approved certain amendments to mutual fund regulations. The major ones are, first one is accounting standard related. Mutual fund schemes shall follow Indian accounting standard from financial year 23-24. Next is in provisions relating to winding up of mutual fund scheme. Trustees shall obtain the consent of unit holders when the majority of trustees decide to wind up a scheme or prematurely redeem the units of a closed-ended scheme. For this purpose, consent shall mean consent by simple majority of unit holders present and voting on the basis of 1 vote per unit held. The results of voting are to be published within 45 days of the publication of notice of circumstances leading to winding up. However, in case the trustees fail to obtain the consent, the scheme shall open for business activities from the second business day after the publication of results of voting. Next item relates to review of role of KYC registration agencies. Amendments were approved to SEBI KRA regulations, making KRAs, that is KYC registration agencies, responsible for carrying out independent validation of KYC records uploaded onto their system by registered intermediaries and maintain an audit trail of the upload modification, download of client KYC records. To facilitate seamless movement of KYC records to and from registered intermediaries to KRAs, integration of systems of registered intermediaries and KRAs has also been prescribed. Next item is amendment to SEBI stock brokers regulations and SEBI depositories and participants regulations. Board approved SEBI stock brokers regulations specifying the following: definition of professional clearing member, revised net worth requirement for trading members, self-clearing members, and professional clearing members to be met within prescribed timelines, fees and deposit requirements for members of electronic gold receipt segment of stock exchanges. Amendment to SEBI depositories and participants regulations were approved to provide for revised net worth requirement for stockbroker depository participant to be met within prescribed timelines. Next is another amendment to SEBI LODR regulations for issuance of securities in demat form in case of investor service requests. This amendment is for issuance of securities in dematerialized form in case of investor service request, including for issue of duplicate shares. This move will improve ease, convenience, and safety of transactions for investors. Next item is amendment to SEBI FPI regulations. Board approved amendment to SEBI FPI regulations to enable SEBI to generate unique registration numbers for FPIs on receiving the basic details of the applicants seeking FPI registration from either of the SEBI registered depositories. Next item and the last item in my list is amendment to SEBI settlement proceeding regulations. These regulations came into effect in 2019. Based on experience gained and after a consultative process, Board approved the proposal to amend these regulations, and the major amendments are: one relates to timelines for various stages of settlement process, which are now rationalized, and in this regard, what has been approved is filing of settlement application within 60 days from the date of receipt of show cause notice or supplementary show cause notice, whichever is later. Submission of revised settlement terms is to be done within 15 days from the date of internal committee meeting. Timelines for remittance of settlement amount and compliance of all the settlement terms also rationalized. Next in this is all payments under settlement regulations to be accepted only through dedicated payment gateway. The proceeding conversion factor, the base values, the amounts in respect of disclosure violations, settlement terms attributable to the nature of extent of violations have also been rationalized. So these are the important items and decisions which were taken in the board meeting today. And now we are open for question which we'll attempt to answer. My only request is that kindly don't ask case-specific questions.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Chairman, sir, thank you so much for speaking to us. A couple of questions. The first thing was, CDAC was also considering this matter of allowing FPIs in commodity derivatives. Could you share with us what has been the feedback from CDAC? And as far as that particular proposal at SEBI is concerned, do you take it to the board for an approval, or does it happen without the board approval, and where does it stand? Second question, sir, is with respect to the IPO of NSE. On and off, there have been reports talking about how close or how far it is. From the regulator, could we have some clarity in case a DRHP is filed? Is there anything that will come in the way of approving that DRHP or not? And sir, just last question. This is case specific, but I would want your opinion just as a regulator. Recently, we had RBI's action as far as RBL Bank is concerned, where management change was done, and it took them about 12 p.m. on another market day, on the next market day, to come out with a clarification saying that there is nothing wrong with the financials of the bank. The stock was already down about 20-25%. Could situations like these be avoided with better coordination between the regulators?
चलिए, ये थे इस समय के सेबी बोर्ड मीट के बड़े फैसले। और अगर आप इनकी बात करेंगे ना, तो हम सुबह से इस बारे में बात कर रहे थे कैसे आईपीओस को बेहतर करने के लिए और मोर ट्रांसपेरेंसी लाने के लिए बात हुई थी। हमारे साथ इस पर बात करने के लिए शैलेश हरिभक्ति, चेयरमैन शैलेश हरिभक्ति एसोसिएट्स जुड़ गए हैं। शैलेश सर, कई समय से इनके बारे में बात हो रही थी, चाहे आप प्राइस बैंड के बारे में बात करें, चाहे आप ओएफएस फॉर सेल की बात करें, चाहे आप बात करें कि कहाँ पे प्रोसीड्स को इस्तेमाल करा जा सकता है। सेबी का ये कहना था कि जितने भी फैसले हैं वो एक ट्रस्ट लेवल बढ़ाएंगे, ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ाएंगे। क्या आपको लगता है कि जितनी भी चीज़ें सेबी को करनी चाहिए थी उन सब से एक अच्छा इम्पैक्ट आएगा रिटेल इन्वेस्टर में, और जो इन्वेस्टर है जो इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है इस कंपनीज में?
मैं समझता हूं कि सेबी के जो भी ट्रांसपेरेंसी और इन्वेस्टर इंटरेस्ट में जो भी उन्होंने अपने विचार प्रकट किए हैं वो सब बहुत पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन में है। मैं देख रहा हूं कि हमारी मार्केट बहुत डीप होती जा रही है। एक समय ऐसा था कि जब पूरा निवेश सिर्फ बाहर से होता था। आज के दिन एक संतुलन सा आ गया है कि इंडियन इन्वेस्टर, रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है, इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर हैं, ये सब निवेश करने के लिए तैयार हो गए हैं और हमारी म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री भी बहुत पावरफुल होती जा रही है। तो मैं समझता हूं कि ये मार्केट को अच्छी बनाने में, ट्रांसपेरेंट बनाने में और डीप बनाने में जितनी भी ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ती जाए उतनी बढ़िया है।
चलिए सर, अगर ओएफएस की बात करें कितना आप निकाल सकते हैं, या प्रोसीड्स की बात करें, वो तो हमें तब भी थोड़ा समझ आया। मुझे आपसे ये जानना था कि जो प्राइस बैंड को मिनिमम 5% का रखने की बात थी, उसमें क्या सोच रही है सेबी की?
मैं समझता हूं कि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को थोड़ा सा सपोर्ट चाहिए, थोड़ा सा क्लैरिटी और सर्टेनिटी चाहिए कि प्राइस बैंड कितनी होगी। और मैं समझता हूं कि 5% प्राइस बैंड से अट्रैक्शन बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को निवेश की भूख तो है ही, इसलिए इतना निवेश हो रहा है। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ एक भय भी रहता है कि अगर 5% से ज्यादा कम हो गया तो नुकसान इतना ज्यादा उठाने का रिटेल में क्षमता कम है। इसलिए मैं समझता हूं कि ये 5% प्राइस बैंड कुछ ठीक ही है।
सर, एक बात जो नॉन इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर्स की बात हो रही थी कि 2 लाख से 10 लाख के जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उनके लिए अब एक कोटा दे दिया गया है। क्या आपको लगता है कि इससे थोड़ा सा जो पहले जो इन्वेस्टर्स थे क्राउड आउट हो जाते थे मार्केट में, और जो बड़े इन्वेस्टर्स के सामने, तो आपको लगता है कि उनकी थोड़ी पार्टिसिपेशन अब यहाँ पे बढ़ेगी और ज़्यादा मौके मिलेंगे आईपीओ में पार्टिसिपेट करने के?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आपकी बात 100% सही है कि अगर कोटा ज्यादा बढ़ाया गया तो उनको निवेश करने का मौका और मिलेगा। और उसके साथ साथ ये प्राइस बैंड है, उसके साथ ट्रांसपेरेंसी है, इंफॉर्मेशन एसिमेट्री दूर की जा रही है। तो सब तरह से एक संतुलन सा लाया जा रहा है कि जिससे रिटेल इन्वेस्टर कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ निवेश कर पाए।
चलिए सर, अगर आप इस आईपीओ में मेजर चेंजेस को देखें तो ये समझ आता है कि जो न्यू एज कंपनीज हैं, जो टेक कंपनीज हैं, लॉस मेकिंग कंपनीज की जब बात कही गई, तो ये आप जोमेटो के आईपीओ को देखें, आप या बाकी आईपीओस को देखें, उनको ध्यान में रख के करी गई है। और इसलिए शायद ट्रांसपेरेंसी की बहुत बात हुई है यहाँ पर। आपको लगता है कि कुछ और चेंजेस हैं यहाँ पर जो सेबी से हम आईपीओज में, स्पेशली जो नई कंपनीज आ रही हैं, उसमें हम देख सकते हैं आपके हिसाब से?
मैं 2 चीज देख रहा हूँ कि जो प्राइसिंग हो रहा है उस पे सेबी थोड़ा सा अंकुश लाना चाह रही है कि फेयर प्राइसिंग होना चाहिए, जिससे कि ऐसा ना हो कि जैसे ही लिस्टिंग होए तब रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को बड़ा नुकसान हो जाए, प्राइस कम हो जाए, गिर जाए। ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए, थोड़ा संतुलन रहना चाहिए। और मर्चेंट बैंकरों को सेबी इत्तला कर रही है कि आप भी थोड़ा समझ के ठीक से प्राइसिंग करिए ताकि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को बड़ा नुकसान नहीं हो जाए जैसे ही लिस्टिंग हो। तो मैं समझता हूँ ये एक बड़ा चेंज एटीट्यूड में आ रहा है। और दूसरा ये हो रहा है कि जो बहुत ज्यादा पैमाने पे लेवरेज्ड एप्लीकेशंस की जाती थी उस पे भी सेबी अंकुश लाना चाहती है ताकि लोग अपना लेवरेज से मार नहीं खा जाए। तो ये 2 बड़े कदम सेबी ने रिसेंटली उठाए हैं और मैं समझता हूँ ये सब अच्छी दिशा में है। ताकि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को सही प्रकार का एनवायरनमेंट मिले जिसमें वो कॉन्फिडेंस से निवेश कर पाए।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया शैलेश शर्मा साहब जुड़ने का। तो जो बात शैलेश हरिभक्ति कह रहे थे और जो बात आपको सेबी की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस से भी समझ आ जाएगी कि रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को और कुशनिंग और कॉन्फिडेंस देखने की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे। चलिए, स्वदेश खबर के इस एडिशन में इतना ही। अपना और अपनों का ख्याल रखें और जैसे मैं हर बात कहता हूँ, कोविड अप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर का लगातार ख्याल रखें।